everybody, it's Casual.Boops coming at you with another video, and today we're going to cover the T49, one of my favorite tanks in the game and my most played tank in the game, the Tier 9 American Light Tank from the tech tree. And here today is with a special guest for me here today is Savo. You may know him from the NA forums or from getting T49 in game. The reason I'm including him here is because he actually taught me how to play the T49 and not totally suck at it. So I thought it was fitting. He's also in the game that we're about to feature, so I thought let's have him involved and see how this goes. Savo, go ahead and say hi.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Excellent. So yeah, we'll just jump right into the stats here, and we'll try to keep it fast. So the big thing here with the T49 is it gets two guns. It gets two gun options. One of them is a 90mm gun, and when I played through the tank for the first time when it was a Tier 8 back an eternity ago, and then also when it was a Tier 9 when the Sheridan was released, I did not like this tank because I played it with the 90mm, and when you do that, you're basically just like a bad medium tank.
You're
like there's
worse
nothing special.
RU-251.
What was that?
You're a worse RU-251.
Exactly. You know,
like,
you're not
if
that
you want to
fast.
play the 90, just play another light tank because it's got American-itis if it's with the 90.
Right. With the 90mm, the tank is fine, but there's really nothing special about it, and there's other tanks in the game at the same tier that do everything that the T49 with the 90mm does better. So there's not really a reason to do that except for the fact that it's safe. The other option that it gets is the most American gun in the entire game. It gets this big, stupid DERP gun, this 152mm cannon, which is just ridiculous. And just while we're here, I'll just talk about the armor. There is no armor. That's it.
What armor?
There is no
Don't
armor.
Don't get shot.
But
that's the armor.
But so when Savo showed me how to play this tank, he plays with the DERP gun, and he showed me the way, and I get it now. And I've now that I've done this, I can't go back. I won't go back. So this right here, you're seeing it. This is why we play the DERP, because when you pen with the admittedly low penetration that the DERP gun gets, 76mm is not a lot. You have to aim very carefully. You have to know what you're shooting at, know how to shoot, and so on and so forth. But you do about 1,000 damage sometimes, so it is hilarious.
All big numbers.
Exactly. Now, unfortunately, it's like a KV2, except it does 65. So you have like a 22-second reload. Your aim time is god-awful. The dispersion is god-awful. The final dispersion, I should say. It's worth noting that the soft stats on this thing are very, very good as long as you do not turn the turret. So if you're moving the hull, it's fine. If you're moving back and forth on the tracks and not turning the hull, it's also excellent. Excuse me. But as soon as you turn the turret, you can see that this is almost 4 times as bad for the bloom. So as soon as you turn the turret, the thing just explodes with the aiming reticle. So this is the thing that really holds it back. You really need to make sure. You'll see. I do this. I'm sure Savo, you do this too. Where if I'm about to poke a corner and shoot, I will turn the turret in advance and then lock the turret in place mostly, and then so that way when I go around the corner, I'm only moving the tank hull back, forward, and then I shoot, and then I move the tank hull back around the corner again. So that way I'm not turning the turret, because that's going to minimize the time that it takes me to poke the corner, shoot the guy, and then come back. That sound about right?
Yeah, that is the effective way to finesse the DERP gun into behaving.
Right. Now, I think Savo also does some weird stuff with turning his mouse sensitivity down.
I make heavy use of a sniper button. So one of the things I'll do is mid-range DERP sniping, and I can track targets by using my sniper button and just slowly moving my mouse, so my turret's still moving, but it's not moving enough to bloom the gun.
Right. And that's kind of like if you've ever played artillery, I'm sure you've noticed, and I'm sure you never want to do it again, but if you move quickly from one spot to another and it's all jerking around, the bloom of the reticle is going to go way out. But if you slowly move it from one spot to another, the gun will be much more well behaved. And so that's what Savo's describing now.
That's like my one secret sauce to making the T49 work is I very rarely rush shots.
It's hard not to sometimes, but yeah. But yes, it's a very using the big gun makes this thing a very peculiar beast. Otherwise, other stats are fairly on par. 37 power to weight and pretty good ground resistances. 65 top speed is fine. It's not a wheelie boy, but it still gets around. Good good terrain resistances, 10 degrees of gun depression, 410 meters of base view range. Like, this is all good. So it's a very good tank in my opinion. The one thing I do want to spend a little more time on than I otherwise would is equipment loadout, because this is something that, especially on this tank, and especially since Equipment 2.0 came out, is definitely a source of dispute or discussion. So I'm going to start with Savo's equipment loadout, and this is from a screenshot that he sent me just before we did this, and let's see if you can see it there. Basically, casually showing off Savo's 3 mark here, but he basically runs as good of optics as you can get, as good a V-stab as you can get, and then the turbo for the lulls, and then no heat rounds. The big gun gets an HE round, a premium HE round, which just is a little bit better penetration, and then a heat round that is not premium. I don't run any of those either because they're garbage, just straight up. And then food. So, Savo, you want to talk about it? I guess this is your baby and your equipment loadout, so take it away if you want.
Yeah, we're kind of entering my little niche wheelhouse in this game. The way I've built this is to try and make the gun behave enough so I can basically be a Hellcat with a big stupid gun. Early on, I'm not a Hellcat. Early on, I'm counter-scouting, which is what the turbo's there for. It's there to get me there just a little bit before the other light tank can be there, so I can start having the gun zero in and be ready to just, how you doing, light tank? We have 1,000 damage, and run away. And then I'm basically a glorified Hellcat for mid-game, and unless I see opportunities to spot safely.
Or if somebody does something stupid or aggressive, then we can punish them, right?
If someone shows me butt or soft side, I am going after that.
Yep. That makes sense. My setup is here, and I have just the puny 2 mark, unfortunately, but I have dispensed with all options of doing any kind of official actual scouting. I don't have optics, I don't have a turbo, I have all about gun stats. So purple vents, purple V-stab, and then purple gun lane drive. Basically trying to do everything that I can to make this gun behave. I've even got I run it with the vertical stabilizer directive and food. So with the food and the crew that I have and the purple vents, I can still get a view range that's acceptable for a light tank. So if I really need to, if I'm the only light tank in a game, I guess I just have to play that role, but I still can. But otherwise, I'm just doing everything that I can to try to minimize the turret traverse, which is just god-awful, and the vertical stabilizer is what's going to minimize that, and also the food and the vents, and then the vent directive is just going to tame this down as much as I possibly can. So, not to say that there aren't other options. I haven't experimented too much with the rotation mechanism, but part of the reason I'm a little iffy on that one, and I've talked about this in the first video I ever did about the equipment, is the rotation mechanism can do great things. However, it also allows you to turn the turret and the hull faster. So if you're turning faster, that means your turret traverse, the bloom, when you turn the turret as fast as it can, is going to be that much bigger. So it actually makes it worse if you're moving the turret at full traverse. So
for something like this, where your turret dispersion on turret traverse is absolutely terrible, I don't recommend it. If it has excellent turret dispersion numbers, that is definitely a very valuable piece of equipment. But in this case, there's better options.
Right. Well, I will say that I've used the I don't want to turn this into Equipment 2.0 overview again, but I have used the rotation mechanism to great effect on like the Grill 15, which did have just god awful turret traverse dispersion. As soon as you move the turret, it just bloomed out really far, and that's been really well behaved. But because this has better option, it has the V-stab, it has vents, I'm not going to say it's a bad idea. I have to do some testing, but unfortunately all my stuff is purple, so to take it off is 200 bonds, so I'm not going to rush into that decision. But I'm not saying it's a bad idea, it's just I'm not convinced that it's the best idea right off the bat. We'll just say it like that. So with that in mind, we'll jump right into the replay, and yeah. Alright, so we're going to jump right into the game now, and it's an airfield game with tier 9s and also tier 8s in the game, and no artillery, lots of light tanks. And right away, this is actually, we're following me, and Savo is my platoon mate. We're both playing T49s, and if you have friends that have T49s, this is the best way to do it, in my opinion. But you could
triple platoons.
Triple platoons, exactly. Oh my god. And so you see, Sabo and I both have the same idea, and just like I talked about before, I turned the turret in advance, trying to get ready for this anti-scout action. And oh god, feels good, man. Feels good. That guy is regretting life. He's dead now, and that's the power of T49. You know, you go to a place where somebody's going to be, and then you make them pay for their existence. And now we just have to play safe and take opportunistic shots. I see that there's a... What is this? The thing I reviewed before? Let it aim all.
You did have pretty good shots from that.
Pretty okay shots, but that one was unlucky. But I noticed after shooting him, I wasn't spotted. So, you know, obviously we're going to play it safe just in case. But since I knew I took that shot for free, I know I can do it again. So we're going to set up here and just wait.
Yeah, from where I was on this map, I kept looking that way. I didn't really have good shots like that.
And, you know, yeah, exactly. And then this just goes to show, like, it's not a sniper. So we're 0 for 2 from downtown right now, but this is also, like, this isn't really what the T49 is for. But since we're doing this for free, and there's not otherwise a really good place to be, like, we don't want to be on the beach right now.
Yeah, this is mid-range shooting.
Right.
This is the mid-range derp sniping that I was talking about earlier, like where I'm a pseudo Hellcat. I can't actively scout right now without really being harmed.
Yep.
So keep the gun hot.
Yeah, you don't want to dive in and get yourself, you know, in danger.
Yeah.
So this is the easiest way to get some free damage from people who do something stupid. And
you miss every shot you don't take.
Exactly. So now we're just waiting patiently. We know that Panzer, what's it called? The Kampfpanzer is still down there, and there he is. Now I've got no bushes, but I wasn't being spotted when I did this before with bushes, so we'll just...
I'm pretty sure you ding him.
Ding!
Oh, ding! There we go.
And this is the power of derp, man. I don't need to pen armor. I can just hit him for 400, even though he's perfectly hull down. Because 18 mechanics in this game are great. So Savos...
I finally figured out I should probably start shooting at this
and
guy.
now I see a Lynx doing something stupid, and... Oh my god! So this,
I forgot about that.
This is what T49 does, you know. And you notice I was trying very carefully not to turn the turret very quickly because that would bloom it out. So like you know, you can't get too excited when you have opportunities like that because if you do and you jerk the turret, then you're going to miss the shot. And here I noticed that the enemy heavy tanks are getting really committed. So I'll just keep them honest. Just you know, again,
free damage.
Turn the turret in advance, back up. Poke him, and now I see these guys are pre-aiming this corner that I'm at, and so the T10 is there, and it's not safe to do this again, so okay, we'll figure out something else to do. This even 90 is making life interesting, but whatever, we can shoot over him, so it doesn't matter. I mean, you see that there's a push happening on the JK line on the beach, but we don't need to be there, and I don't really want to be there. I don't want to be stuck in if I don't have to be. You know, there's no sense in putting your tank at risk. Free damage!
Ding!
You know, and we haven't really been spotted for doing any of these things, so there's just no reason to, you know, we'll still be able to do damage and influence the game and keep those guys from pushing from up here, and we're not spotted, so why not? And you can see every time I turn the turret aggressively, how much that turret traversed the bloom. Up and the Barras thinks he's safe. Oh
nope.
We did get shot for shooting the Barras, but that's worth it. And now the enemy T49 has gotten into the pocket here on the inside of this, and he's made life very awkward because now we can't work that anymore because we'll be spotted.
That was a very brave. It was a very brave backup without looking what was coming.
Well, I saw that the heavies were suppressed.
Oh. So you were looking at them.
And so now the T49 and I, or sorry, Sabo and I are gonna see which side. Like
I screw this up.
Well, and so I take a derp from the T49 for 815, which is unfortunate, but I also did it to him too. And I rushed my shot because I didn't want to be here any longer than I needed to be. Like that's a very risky place to be, and so I didn't want to get shot from the snipers that are probably at like what is that J9. So I took the shot, and I gave him 800 of my hit points for free, and here we are. So now we're kind of committed here, and so now it's kind of a different game, because they definitely know we're here, and that's that's what happens when you hotshot T49 shots. It just doesn't necessarily go very well, but oh well.
Yeah, you can hotshot if there's no other option. Like,
just don't expect your results to be spectacular.
I wouldn't make a habit of it. You have limited shell capacity. There's not a very words are very difficult. There's not a whole lot of shells in the tank. Another great shot. So you can take total guess shots. Just the odds of them striking are low.
Yep. And so now I'm just waiting to get unspotted because there are a bunch of tank destroyers that have never been spotted, and I just want to just see. Oh, and here we go. There's a UDES, and there's my shot, and we'll just. You see how long it takes to aim in. This is even with food and a purple gun lane drive.
Oh, no pen.
Yeah, it's actually hard to pen the UDES, the Swedish Swedish tank destroyers. They have little bits of spaced armor all over them. I never seem to pen with HE over there on those things. And I was about to go to the Carnarvon Action X because he's isolated and he's put himself in a place where I can just go ahead and delete him right now because he doesn't have any help. But the Char has the same exact idea, and the lightweight actually picks him up. So, team knows what they're doing, and driving is hard.
He pulled us off.
And now this is the part where I was really cagey about it. Like, you can see it's hard to tell in advance where these things are going to be. But I also do not want to tango with an EBR 90 because I'm at 211 hit points, and those have a high pen HE round, and I was like, you know, he could just click me, and then I'm dead. So I try to get up to the perch here, and I want to spot him as he goes down the one line. I have a feeling he's going to run to our backfield. So
oh, that's right, I died in this game.
Yeah, you tried to tango with a Ferdinand and went, yeep, and then died.
I forget my death noises. I need to record a few.
You probably should. They're pretty good stuff. And so I tried to spot the EBR. I thought for sure he was still up in the D2 perch, the Delta 2 perch up in those bushes over there, because he hadn't been spotted running away. And at this point, I don't want to do anything risky because there's no one on our team that's ready to shoot him or anything else that I spot from over here. So I'm just going to hang tight. But now he's on the cap, so we know exactly where he is.
I'm sorry, what? You had view range all the way to the end of that map.
He must have had camo, you know? Camo offsets view range, so... Or he's hacking, I don't know.
Sneaky little booger.
So now we got to do this very carefully, because I'm still a one-shot. We're definitely going to win the game, but if I want to pick up this kill, we got to do it very carefully. So I don't want to go...
The approach...
Go ahead.
Yeah, the approach here is very smart by Mr. Boops. The approach is from the direction that the EBR clearly came from, so no one's there.
I saw a building was down over here, and I thought he might be there. Wait, and...
Poor little fella, he wasn't even looking your way.
See, I was almost out of ammo at this game. I mean, man.
Oh, that does happen with this tank. Well, you carry more of the big HE than I thought.
I carry 3 rounds of the big HE, but I still had... this is the game when I decided that I should never run heat again. So this was the last time where I ran 3 heat rounds, and I'm almost regretted it, unfortunately. All right, so getting into the post-game stats here, we ended up picking up 5,500 damage and 3 kills. Unfortunately, just a first class, but still a high caliber. It's just this tank. This game was just too much fun. This game exemplified too much of what the T49 was capable of. So even though it wasn't an ace per se, I felt like I had to show the world. And we'll see here what the team score. 1,182 base XP, and otherwise we had a fairly capable team. Otherwise, so. Hard to say, maybe we would have won either way, but the T49 that we punished, you can see didn't really get a whole chance to do a whole lot. And that's the last bit of it here. So yeah, that's the game. And thanks to Savo for coming along with me, and thanks for watching, guys. And let me know what you think. If you love the T49 or you hate the T49, or what your thoughts are. And thanks very much. And if you have another replay that you'd like to see, go ahead and send it to my email, casual.boops@gmail.com. And if it's a really good one, maybe I'll feature you. Thanks. All right.